subscribe to our videos so that more people can hear the Word of God.
Good morning, and welcome to Friday, and welcome to 5 Minutes a Day with God. And we are going to be in a new chapter today, the last chapter of the book of Ruth, chapter 4, and we're going to look at verses 1 through 6. Meanwhile, Boaz went to the town gate and sat down there, just as the guardian redeemer he had mentioned came along. Boaz said, "Come over here, my friend, and sit down." So he went over and sat down. Boaz took 10 of the elders of the town and said, "Sit here," and they did so. Then he said to the guardian redeemer, "Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, do so. But if you will not, tell me, so I will know. For no one has the right to do it except you, and I am the next in line." "I will redeem it," he said. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property." At this the guardian redeemer said, "Then I cannot redeem it, because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it." All right. Okay, so here's Boaz at the city gate. And so one thing to know about the city gate, it's the entry into the town and, the exit to the town. But it's also basically the hub of the town. It's where business transactions happen. It's where policy was put in place. Legal action took place there. And the other thing that was interesting, it was very public, right? Because they're just in the middle of this gate, of this town square, so to speak. And so onlookers would probably walk by and go, "Oh, what's going on?" And so it was very public, these transactions that happened. And so as he's there, here comes the relative, and we don't know his name. It never gets mentioned. And so he says, "Come sit down," and he sits down, and then he finds 10 elders, and he's basically ready for court to happen. It's like, we are ready here. And so he does something which I just love this book so much, but it keeps breaking all these social and cultural mores, right? Norms. And so what he says is, Naomi has this land to be redeemed, to sale. But Naomi doesn't own land, right? She can't. Legally, she can't. She's a woman. And so he kind of throws it out there, but really that's not true, right? And so, because women can't own land. The only women, I'll just throw this, so wives couldn't own land. So there's a story earlier where a man just had daughters, right? And so the women were able to own land that way as long as it stayed in their clan. But wives couldn't, widows couldn't. But here's Boaz just pushing the envelope, saying Naomi's land, and no one argues with him. And so this man's thinking, okay, I'll buy it, and I'll make my inheritance greater, right? And so that makes sense to him. That's what he wants, to increase his land. And there wasn't a lot of ways to increase your land because each land was parceled out, right? Each part of the land was divided into tribes and clans. And so this was kind of like an opportunity and a way to increase his land. And so he was going to do it. But then, so Boaz brings that part up and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do this." And then he says, "But you need to redeem the line," right? It's not just about the line, the land. It's about the widow. You get Ruth, the widow, in order to go ahead and conceive and carry that lineage on, right? And then he says, "No way." Because, well, I'll talk about it more next week, but for the kinsman redeemer, there really wasn't, yes, he would acquire the land, but he wouldn't, because that land wouldn't be his. It would be to the son that they had, keeping Amalek's name, right, going. And so really, they don't benefit anything, right? The kinsman redeemer doesn't benefit anything. They put money into it to purchase the land, but they don't really benefit themselves. And so we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. But he's not willing to do it. And here's a person, again, that is looking at the natural, right? Like what Orpah did. She looked at the natural and she said, yeah, this doesn't make sense. It makes sense for me to stay. And this man looked at this opportunity and said, yeah, this doesn't make sense. It's going to threaten my inheritance. And maybe he was already married, right? And it's going to threaten my family and take money away from my kids, from my sons. And so he did the sensible thing, the wise thing, but it wasn't the godly thing. And because of that, his name isn't even written in this book. So let's look what Boaz does next week about it. So again, this was a beautiful part of God, again, caring for the marginalized and making sure the widows were taken care of. We'll see you next week and have a good weekend. And remember, 5 minutes in the Word can change your life.